Big day today. We got the Nomad sitting up in jack stands inside the shop. I've changed my mind 16 different times on what order to do things in. I was going to paint underneath. But we got to cut out the tunnel, tighten up the body mounts to the frame. Right now we're resting on top of the transmission. We got to get that fit. So I'm going to go in here, cut out the floor, get it sitting down. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving the body mounts out. I want to make this fit flat to the frame. Then, once I add 3/4 of an inch of body mount, I know I have 3/4 of an inch clearance to the transmission and everywhere else. That's not always the best way. It's going to work really good on this one. So, I'm going to cut out the tunnel, drop this down. We're going to grab the seats and the steering column, which is a lot of fun. We're going to get the steering column sitting in there, see how it feels so I know where to put the seats. Where to put the seats is always a tough one because not everybody's the same size. Some people quit smoking and they need a little more clearance from the steering wheel, right? Some people don't. So I'm going to set the seat so at its farthest point backwards, I'm comfortable. That way someone like, I guess Mike wouldn't be able to drive it, but anybody else would be just fine. And that's what we're going to work towards. It's an automatic. I'm going to get the seats in and do the tunnel. And then you can figure out it's going to be throttle pedal by wire, which means there's no direct linkage. It's just wires that run down to work the throttle body, the fuel. So that makes life a little bit easier. Got to figure out the steering, which is really straight ahead. Lyle's got the right parts, ordered the right stuff. Then we're going to fit the front fenders, inners. But today's deal, we're going to do that tunnel. And we're going to look at the seats and see where they're going to bolt in. Sitting up on 4 good jack stands. The car actually thinks it's sitting on its wheels. That's where I put the jack stands. Under the control arms and the rear axle. So when I go to line up doors and things, the car goes, oh yeah, this is normal. At that point, I don't know if it's going back on the rotisserie or not. I may just put it in the booth, block it way up, and lay on my back and paint the underside. I'm just not sure yet. Things change as you go. Depends on the weather outside. Snowed a bunch last night. I think it's very good that we got this done yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to put a light underneath and we're going to go under there, see what we can see, and then we're going to start cutting some holes. So here's a Blair's eye view. You see up in there, tunnel's resting on top of the transmission. That's not a big deal, but we can see if we put a body mount in here, we're not that far off, but we need clearance. We don't just want the body sitting just above. Even here, you can see the frame clearance. If we put a body mount in there, it's almost touching, right? So anyhow, that's what we're doing. And if you look at the front, and I gotta move around here. Front looks really good. Let's get a light on it. Okay, so you can see that's looking good. That flange may have to go. You can see that flange. There's a little clearance now, but once we cut the center of the tunnel out, and you only want to take as much as you have to. So I'm going to start with an exploratory hole back where that's touching, and then we're going to let the body come down and just see what we get. This is fun stuff. Wow, it looks just as good underneath here. Right on. Hey, and look what Lyle forgot here. Well, he left it for me. Dig that. And that's Lyle's shop. So it's pretty freaking nice. Ugh. There we go. Okay. Now, thank you, Lyle, for the way cool sweat top. All right, we're gonna go get a zip cut. All right, biggest fear here, cutting into his transmission. So I can actually feel, yeah, this is gonna have to go. Actually, this rib's gotta go by the time. So I'm actually gonna cut up here, and I'm gonna miss that. I'm actually going to go pretty big because I kind of know what I'm up against. Yeah, I could feel the car drop. Okay, I'm going to trim back on this edge because I think for now I want the option of putting the cover back on this hole to allow access when he's working on different things. And you see that move, eh? I gotta go to that side and finish chopping. And we're still hooked up here somewhere. Okay. As you can see, the rub marks where it was sitting on there, we're still touching. Let's show you a little bit here. You can see this flange is touching there. That's where this joint meets the floor at the factory. They have two edges. They spot weld them together. You can see this whack of wiring. He's cut it off because he has to put in a new wiring harness. But I need to cut back another few inches. Oh yeah, 2 inches maybe. So I'm going to cut back around here. And then we're going to see how far it drops because I may have to take more on this side. And you have to allow, you got to make sure there's room for transmission lines to come out of the side. I mean, this is your chance to make everyone's life a little bit easier. And as it drops down, this may become too close here and I might not like it. But this is simple, we adjust. So we'll cut a little bit more and see what it looks like. And it doesn't matter which transmission you're putting in. This is just basic, simple stuff. Cut it out, make a new piece, and put it back in. Okay, so you saw that, right? Bounced right up. That's where it was sitting. You can see all the marks. No zip cut marks, just in case you're wondering. Okay. So now we got to look and see how's the frame doing. Ooh, we're right down tight. See? So let's check the other side. Oh yeah. Okay, so this means I have clearance with no body mounts in. So I am now going to put a few body mounts in now that I have, we're going to carry on for now. Yes, I think I should stick to what I was talking about. I'm going to put it back together. No. See, I change my mind all the time. It depends. What you have to worry about here is we're trying, oh, my light's going dead. Okay, so you want to put a rug in, right? And it's way easier if you can fit the factory rug. Now there's going to be a console probably in here. If I make this way tall, taller than I have to, the factory rug's not going to fit, which isn't critical, but it's way easier if you can fit a factory in there, a factory floor covering. So I'm going to make it tighter than 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to trim back here. I'm going to put a little bit of a circle on it now. And I'm going to trim all the way around the holes and make it nice. And then I'm going to wheel out a piece that comes up and ties in here. I want to leave that front opening just because. But I'm going to go fairly snug to this. Yeah. We're going to decide as we go, because once I put the body mounts in, it comes up 3/4 of an inch, and that's about right. Yeah, I mean, the occasional time you'll have one area that might be a little tight. You have to remember your motor's rocking like this whenever he boots it, which he may. So we trim out the hole way neater, and then we're going to have a look at the back too. I know someone in the focus group was asking how you doing on the fuel tank. Is that going to fit? So it looks like, yes, I took the measurements over the phone, but you can see I have a little more room than I wanted. I probably have an inch. So anyhow, that's good. I'm gonna put body mounts in there. How are we doing with the body mounts sit? Actually, okay, I'm gonna have to have a look back here. I think something's hanging up here. Yeah, I gotta push the back end over. It's not sitting down where it should. I forgot the bolts were still in here. That's kind of critical. So before I hack out more, the first thing you should do is make sure the body's sitting where it should be. So this should be over here. So I'm gonna stop, lift it up, get these bolts out, sit it over where it belongs. And then I think I'll be pretty tight to that fuel tank, because I'd sort of figured I'd have 5/8 of an inch room. Right now it looks like I have an inch. And I suppose today we may just get the piece done that goes over the transmission. But that's all right. Grab one of my favorite tools, the screw. Okay. Oh, whoops, wrong way. Yeah, I've done this before. There. That solves the problem. Okay. Just a hair more. Wait a minute. See, that's pretty good. But the car is sitting up. Oh, okay. This kind of thing happens, and it's not critical. But I see where our issue is. And it's something I've got to fix. I'm going to throw a light under here. Okay, so what's happening is the body's sitting up too high at the back, which I did not expect. So I see why. So right here, the exhaust needs to come down about an inch. And his exhaust is so perfectly symmetrical. Both sides are exactly the same. Now, this is simple. I'm going to undo these clamps. And I'm not sure which way I'm going to go yet. But I'm going to take the elbow out for now. So there's a clamp here and a clamp here. I'm going to take them out, both sides. Then I can lower the body down where it belongs. And then a fella just has to shorten this part here, and he has a joint here, and we can take a piece out of that. I mean, it's not just super simple, but it's pretty simple. So anyhow, that's absolutely typical, the kind of stuff you run into. So easily fixed. I will undo that, and then we will come back and lower this body down some more. Yeah, we're not. Okay, before I fix my exhaust issue, I've decided I'm going to put the body mounts in so I know exactly how much of a interference we have. Now, unlike some shops, when I need parts for my job, I walk over to a shelf and ta-da! There they are. And look at that. Lyle has them all together. I have the bolts and washers. So, I'm going to put these in. I'm going to start at the front, lift the body up. In fact, I think I'm going to put the jack underneath this side, lift this side up, and do it all at once. I think that's a better system. Okay, so I will get the jack Jack up this side. All right. All right. Jack this baby up. Okay. Now, these are all tied together. There they are. And the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. I will get a bucket to put them in. You see, these are actually, I don't know if they're, well, I guess they're pretty close to 3/4. But you have the metal piece slipped into the rubber, and then underneath the other half goes in, and then a bolt. So I can slip all these in, all down this side. And I'm just going to save the bottom rubbers. There's different materials they use. Some are rubber. You see there's on the inside too. I gotta lay down in here. So sometimes they're neoprene. Sometimes you put them in and they squeak if you have the hard ones. So you need to lubricate them. And there's several body mounts down the side. I didn't actually count them. Oh, that's right. There's two that, if this is one of them, I have to enlarge the hole on the frame for this body mount to fit in. There. Yes, so that gives us, I mean, when you tighten it down on those bolts, naturally, when you tighten it down on those bolts, it'll be a little tighter. You can see our clearances. This will come back a little more. Now, I'm gonna go under and see how hard. Yeah, we're only sitting 1/8 of an inch off of our body mounts at the back. So that makes me wonder, would it be easier just to cut into this structure and then the body could sit down? So if I took 3/4 of an inch out of that, the exhaust could stay. I mean, first, I'll see if I can't lower, but I mean, even if a person could tilt it in away from the shocks, you know, I think it could be tilted in. If you look here, we could loosen that, and we could loosen this one, and that whole top would angle in. And we have some room here, but this is staying still and the suspension's going up and down. So we got to make sure we don't take away. If I tilt that just a hair, wow. Yeah, I might just take a bit out of here, because this does not change in relation to the body. This is bolted to the frame. This is bolted to the frame. If I just take a slice out of there and I put in a half round, this was mainly holding up the front of the old fuel tank. This is where the old fuel tank sat. So they took a brace and put it across. So now I could cut into that without, I think, affecting the structure of the vehicle. But I have to think on this. This is just some of the stuff I'm thinking about. So we'll see. All right. All right, so there. I'm going to take a little bit out of both corners. I just want to get rid of that lip there and over here. But I can do that afterwards. But I have enough room here. This is good. That is enough. The transmission, actually, dipstick tube works really good. Now he left a chunk of the drive shaft here. So, it's gonna be tight. I gotta ask him and see if he's using the same size drive shaft, or if he's gonna go, you know, you worry about this hitting here, right? I mean, it looks like it should be all right. Yeah, I think so. I'll get another drive shaft and see. You know, he has a built-in drive shaft loop here with the suspension. That's all very cool. And I still have to go loosen the exhaust. It goes over the rear axle. We're gonna make this piece. All right, I found a tunnel. And here it is. So, yes, it's just big enough. So what I'm gonna do, gonna come down the middle, gonna start wheeling, and then the end is right about here. So I'm gonna cut off a bit of the excess right now. And I'll start doing this bottom end first. It's actually way up here. But I'm going to start doing this. I'll get my nice shape coming out around the sides. And then I'll just try to show you basically this was touching. So I just need this up here. So, and I want to make it taper in nice. So I'm going to make it so it's one angle, probably go right to here in one piece, but we'll see. And then once I get my new floor made up, I'll lay it down, trace around it, and make it really nice. So that's the idea. All right. Trim a little bit of excess off. Okay. Now, I will. The place is a lot cleaner than it used to be. This is my trip hammer this is my trip hammer. I need to repower. Okay. I'm going to start with the big wheel. Moves a lot more steel in a hurry. At sharper angles. So, start with that, because I really want this end to be like a half circle. And I mean, I can leather bag it and get it going, but I'm just going to start moving it and see how it goes. And then I'll use that other wheel, which is a lot lighter duty, just to smooth it out. I can crank the pressure up on this a little. I've just never finished this wheel. But you know, it's only been 25 years or so. I don't want to rush it. Okay, back and forth. Okay, just for the heck of it. Really light pressure right now. Just trying to see which way it's going. then I'm going to crank it up. I've got to get up to CH Fabrications in Fort St. John and see Kale. He's the guy who rescued us with a new spindle hub for the Trans Am. He's building a mid-engine Falcon. Falcon? Uh-oh. I should have looked that up. Anyhow, he's building an incredibly cool car. Okay, I'm gonna put a higher crown wheel in here now. Okay. Yeah. It's hard to say, but I think this one. Okay, let's see how that does. Flatten it out. Then we get a better idea how much it's curving on us. Okay. See that? That's pretty freaking ugly, isn't it? But now I will start making it a bit smoother. I'm just doing, I mean, I could leather bag this, and I guess I probably will, just to get that moving a little bit quicker, to pull it down, because I just want a nice shape back here. And yeah, I'll hit it with a leather bag a few times, just to stretch it out a little bit more there. If you don't have a leather bag, go out in the driveway in the dirt, clay. Let's see how this goes. Now, I work in places which shall remain nameless. Anyhow, you can use different shapes you find laying around. Doghouse out of a different vehicle, a wheelbarrow. Pots and pans. There's no wrong way, there's different ways. I just want to roll this over. Turn that. The top needs to be quite pronounced curve. I can do some of it just over my knee, probably. I want to make it smooth. I don't want to leave a bunch of wheel marks. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Oh, look at that. Okay, I gotta take some twist out of it. I mean, this is just roughed in, right? But you can see what I'm going for. So now I'm gonna take some time and try to be gentle with it and finesse it. First, I just wanted to go, okay, can I get to point B from A? This is like, okay, but we're gonna work on that. So now I'm gonna go basically in a straight line. Here, I'm gonna fit this just so you can have a look. Okay. this is going to be at the back. We're going to trim a lot of that end off. It's going to be down here, but I'm concentrating on this, and then I can trim that. So I'm going to run this in a straight line to here. The original floor went this way and then up. I'm just going to do one curve because I like it better, and I don't want to be close to this. So once we come up with the back end, straight shot over. So that's what I'm up to. And again, you don't have to know a lot. I mean, I have been playing with English wheel decades. I can do some pretty cool stuff if I have a lot of time. But there's some real freaking masters at it. This, I'm gonna just try to take my time now and smooth it out. I don't think you need to see all of this, but right now, I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of this. Because even though it's gonna be covered with a rug, I want it to look good. When it gets down to Lyle's, I want him to go, yeah, okay, that looks pretty cool. Now, I did a 70 CUDA for Lyle. Guess I'm cutting off my own head there, right? I did a 70 CUDA for a friend of Lyle's. Lyle was overseeing the build. And it actually went to the Mopar Nationals in Vegas. And did extremely well. But anyhow, I had to make a trunk skin. And that was really difficult. But man, was it a lot of fun. So then I made a few CUDA skins. Because at that time, when I bought a CUDA trunk lid, they were very poor quality when they first came out. And you'd grab a corner of the trunk lid to close it, and the whole thing would move. Because the inner structure wasn't very good when they first came out years ago. So we kept the original inner structure, and I experimented until I felt confident enough to go, hey, I'll make a new one. And I did, and it worked out nice. So then I made a few more. So what I'm saying is, as crude as this appears to be, if you take your time, and it really matters to you, you can do a really nice freaking job. Or, if you're working on your own car at home and you just need a compound curve, and remember, compound curve moves this way and another way, more than one direction it's curved. Then you can use the English wheel and quickly solve your problem. Now you can see this is really getting quite a curve to it, and that's awesome. Now I want to concentrate down here a bit. And it's just, you can say trial and error. I mean, you learn something from every panel you make. An English wheel, I think, is just something, you gotta try it. The guy can try to explain and show you, but until you get your hands on it and start doing stuff, it's pretty hard to suggest what to do next. And so I have sat in my shop, and me and my buddy late at night solving all the world's problems, and we just take turns making different shapes, and our buddy goes and tries to copy it. It's like trading fours when you're doing a blues solo. So, starting to get there. At least you can see it's starting to be respectable. And it wasn't, but it will be. So now, I'm really digging this. Let's try it one more time, because I might go to a flatter wheel now, just to smooth this out. The important thing is at the very end, I need it to drop a bit. We'll see, we'll go have a look. I'm almost ready to shorten the front, actually. So let's see how it's fitting on the car. As we can see, it's way too long, and I knew that. So right now, I'm gonna cut a bunch off the back end. Front end. It would really suck to cut it off the wrong end. The Makita JS 1600. Okay, we got in there. Now, you can see that. Oh, you can't maybe. Okay, we're not looking too bad. Now, I have to be aware there's a seat going in here. I'm gonna go grab the passenger seat and put it here to make sure that being high here isn't gonna affect that too much. There's not a lot I can do about it, but it'd be pretty foolish not to keep an eye on that. Okay. Okay, a little marking, a little trim in. Okay. Right on. So, I'm going to concentrate on this back end, really trying to curve down just a bit in this area in here, because I want it to drop down a little steeper. We'll have some kind of a console here. And then I'll worry about shaping these fronts in tight, because I want to make sure I got room for the fuel pedal. Just make it all freaking nice. That's what it comes down to, right? So, we'll get back at the wheel. I'm going to work out from the center and try to bring both sides down a bit. And I can use the shrinker stretcher on the very outside edge. Seems I gotta trim this side, make it the same. Gonna make that the same. That's messing me up. Okay. Yeah. Little power of suggestion. I was hoping to have Cassidy up here about next week. Give me a hand, but she's going to SEMA. So if you're down in Vegas, you wouldn't find me down there. But you might find Cassidy. Okay. Now, where's my shrinker stretcher? Oh, I gotta drag it over here. Okay. Right on this outside edge. And this is really gonna arc it more because I'm shrinking along here, which brings the metal together, which tightens it, which puts more of a crown in this metal. Then, whoop, I just stepped on the camera stand. You see that? Now, if you see the light here, you can see it bulge up. See that? That's from shrinking the edge. There again, you see that? And just bringing this edge down. So, that made quite a difference. I'm going to do a little more, because this side had a little excess metal in it. So you can see that ridge. So that is starting to look pretty close to what I want. And then sometimes I get real fancy and we do this. Okay, we're gonna have a look. Now you can see the difference, right? So now, what I'm gonna do, because I'm happy with this, what I have to be very aware of is my distance to the transmission under there, right? So, I am going to put a lip on this, hammer it flat. I'm going to, this will be probably bent out and lap welded. And actually, before I do that, I really, it's hard to tell. If I had plasticine, you know, you could put a lump of plasticine or Play-Doh on top of the transmission, and then you put it down, and you know how much clearance you have. I'm actually going to go underneath and have a look. Trust me. Okay, did some more dimpling here. I want a bit more. It was too close to the transmission, so I'm going to fix that up. And you'll see the drill. And I don't want to go all the way up to the edge, because I've already shrunk that. And by leaving it shrunk, that'll make this crown go up higher. Can you see this? Just for basic panels, for basic jobs, you can quickly teach yourself how to do a decent job. And give yourself a compound curve, which saves a lot of pie cuts and welding back together, because you're not able to make one easily without a wheel. Or if you had a plenishing hammer. Like my trip hammer, I got to get that working again. Used to have a bigger one. Dad had a collection of trip hammers. Imagine your surprise, right? Anyhow, but he sold most of them. Dad's done a lot of blacksmith work. So he's my go-to guy when I have questions. Now, you saw how dimpled that was? And you see how that comes out. And also, instead of just a flat piece of tin, which can oil can on you, this is pretty cool. So now, for the heck of it, I'm going to go to the anvil and I'm going to hammer this up so we have a lip all the way around this edge. Maybe a bit too soon for that, but I'm going to try it back here at least for now. Maybe I'll try it here so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll try it over here on the other wheel. Okay, I'll move my leather bag. Get my body hammer out. Okay, this is 1 inch thick plate. And I built this frame, 1 inch tubing bender for square tubing. Got this wheel that you move around to bend it. Anyhow, this platform's for my leather bag. It can double as an anvil. So you get the idea, right? I'm gonna go have a look in the car, see what it looks like. Well, now that it looks great, I'll show you. So now, you see that? That fits pretty close. So now what I have to do is I gotta bring the sides in tight. Now that's gonna be two different things I'm doing. I'm going to bring these up just a bit So it's a nice transition into here. So I'm going to bring these in and this out. And then I'm getting really close to doing a nice trim on the front, which I think actually that's the problem. Okay, it's sitting up way too high at the front. So I don't know how close it is here. So I need to go and get that front cut in and just get it done. So where's my felt? Okay. So I am, you know what I'm gonna do? I do this a lot. I draw the line way out here. So when I put my piece up, and I gotta stand up above the car. Okay, so I know that's where that side is. And I'll do the same. So you make your mark go out past the metal. This is fun stuff. Okay, so now I take this off and I make the mark out here go way past. And I put this back in. Ooh, good thing I did that. This one's pretty close. Yeah. Okay. So that's where that goes. And then once I get that down, I'm trimming my front corners so that it sits down more. I gotta get it to sit as close as it can up until, okay. So when I cut that, it's gonna sit low. So I wanna cut these corners too. That'll make more sense once I cut it and show it to you. Okay. Okay. So, yes. Now that appears to be not bad, but it's not good yet. So now, crawl right in. So I want this to be fairly even. You'll always find differences from this floor to this floor. Not always, but quite often, because they had to make room for pedals and clutch linkage and different things under the body. So they're not always exactly the same. So right now I can see where I need to trim a little more. I'm trying to be very careful because I hate having to add stuff back on. Okay, that's going good. Okay, I gotta show you from here. I'm really excited about this. I know it's not that big a deal to a lot of people, but so you see this is fitting decent. That's gonna get trimmed. This side is fitting really, really nice to the metal of the tunnel. This side's a bit high, but again, I replaced a hole somebody cut out for a 4-speed, and it could be that I didn't get that just right. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to trim the front a little. I'm trimming this angle here so it drops down better. And then I'm going to take this out. I'm actually going to mark the back so I know where to cut. Okay, so just in case, just for a reference point. And there we go. Whoop, and it slipped down. Okay, try that again. Okay, so we got our mark. All right, so I'm pretty happy with things. This isn't great, but look at how this moves, right? When I cut that out, it sunk in a little bit, which isn't unusual. I mean, the tunnel is like, you know, damn, they're curved. It's stronger. It fits around the transmission. So if I bend some of this up, now I've got to go and make sure that I'm still lined up with the body mount holes. Because I've been moving the shit around. There. That's lined up. And that's good. So let's see how close I am. Okay, so this side is rolled harder. This side you can see there's really, can you see it? I don't have any wheel marks over here. I didn't really bend that down. So I'm gonna go wheel that edge and make it tighter here. And I'm gonna trim this out a little more because obviously that works out. And then I'm gonna transition from a lip to going on the flat. So first I'm gonna roll this over some more. The other side fits really nice. I mean, I could just go bend it in the vise, but this has got a curve going this way too. This is way easier. So what I'm trying to do is just get a little more crown so it tips down, just to give me another 1/8 of an inch clearance over the back of the tranny. I was hoping this weekend, I got to call up a couple people, but I was hoping to go to someone else's house and give them a hand for a day. Because I'd like to get the heck out of my shop and go see what other people are working on. And that's something I've always done. Usually I just go spend a day at someone's house, see their cars and help them do hammer welding or do something where it's good to have a couple of people. And that's what I intend to keep doing, because it's fun. I mean, you start out with a flat piece of steel. There's really not much to this, I know. It's not like I can go, wow, what a cool panel. But it works. Solves a problem. Problem solvers. Gee, I sound just like Pat. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay. Can you see down here? See, that's pretty tight now, right? It's not perfect, but it's pretty tight. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fit this. Wow, that's this side, same thing. It's pretty freaking close. So I think I'm gonna reverse roll these corners because that'll bring this down. Yeah, basically something like that. But I'm gonna do it on the wheel. But just so you know what I'm up to and why. Yeah. Actually, that might be enough there. Then I gotta get these tied in. So, it's just debating when I go, enough is enough. Because you can always be better and better and better. I can roughly do that. So I'll trim this up. Well, what do we got? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to make some marks. Decide where I'm trimming steel off. And what's getting butt weld and what's getting spot welds. If I was a nice guy, I would simply spot weld all these, put holes in this. It's neat, it's really quick. And that's probably the right way to do it. So your customer, the client, is not paying. Why do I call him a client instead of a customer? Well, when you charge what I do, you should treat him with respect. Client. So I'm going to trim this steel back. And this is going to get butt welded. And yeah. And now, because I want to see, we're going to set in a seat. Yeah! Okay. Wow. Look at that. These are nice seats. Okay, but it tells me it has nothing to do with the tunnel. Now, I kind of think, I wonder if we're going to be lowering these. We're going to see, they're electric, so I've got to hook up some power to them. I want to put them all the way back. That's how I'm going to set them up. I will move them forward just to double check. They're 6-way electric. They got some cool stuff in them. Wow. So, wow, they have more options than most cars I've driven. Okay, so, and they would have to be a little higher on the outside. And none of this is a big deal because we're building the car. We get to make what we want. So it doesn't, I can do the tunnel without thinking twice about these seats, but I did want to see what they look like. So once I get the tunnel in, then the next thing I want to do is, I should put the column in next. Maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I will, because then it's easier to figure out where the seats are. Because you got to center your seats on the wheel. So you got to set that seat up first in actual fact, and then you have measurements off your door and off your tunnel, and you're going to use those to make this side look balanced. But it comes down to the steering column. You want to be centered. If you've driven a car where the column is off by ½ an inch, it's freaking weird, and you know it. So it's a very simple thing to deal with, but it's one of those things when you're building a car. Look at this. Oh. Okay, there's something that's really important. When you're putting the angle of your seat, if you drive 20,000 kilometers across the country, this part of your leg, underneath, just behind your knee, lower thigh, that's got to be supported. If it isn't, you will suffer driver fatigue. So, you want the angle and the height so that your leg, your fuel pedal leg, is supported by the seat. I have never seen a seat that did this. That is the coolest. In fact, I may look for a set of these myself. These are awesome seats. So, putting the seats, the angle's got to be right. The distance forward and back, they got to be level side to side. Centered on the wheel, balanced side to side. When you stand in front or behind the car, if one of these seats is off or tilted just a hair, it really sticks out. So you got to be super careful about that. So I'm going to take these away from the spark zone, and that's going to be a bit of a job. Okay. So I'm going to get a different color pen now and do a final trace of where everything's going to sit, so I don't get confused. I'm real happy with this. I'm not happy with that. I'm just going to go over the wheel, and this last inch or so is going to fold. Oh yeah. Yep, not enough, but we're getting there. Yeah, okay, totally doable. Yes. Okay, I am going to find a different felt, trace that out, grind my edges clean. Okay, that needs a little hammering, and this needs a bunch of grinding. I'll get the little grinder out. Hey, what do we got going on here? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yes. Little bit this way. Okay. That is what we wanted. Okay. Far out. Okay, just gonna punch some holes. I'll spray the primer and you will come back and I'm starting to tack in this front, which is where I'm gonna start. Won't be long now. Okay, dig that. Okay, there it is. I'll do some finer polishing with Scotch-Brite, make it a bit smoother. Had a fella today in the focus group ask about what to use instead of final wash. He had a buddy who was thinking of using, well, he suggested Windex to clean the car off before painting. I think there's guys who do that. Bad Chad doesn't use conventional final washes. They have a system that works very good for him, but I don't know what that is. There's different things you can do. You'd have to talk. I don't want to make recommendations to people that I'm not 100% on. If I'm cleaning off a car, I know it's $100 a gallon, but 1 gallon of final wash and wipe lasts me 3-4 years at least. So, you know, maybe somebody, body shop, maybe will sell you a half a liter of it or something. I don't know. But when you're just about to paint the car, you need a very, it's a weaker solvent. Wash and wipe, remove silicones, oils from your hands, microscopic dust picks it up. Wash and wipe. It's not the only way to go. It's what I do because I'm working on someone else's vehicle and I don't want to have to repaint it for free. But there are other methods that work. So I'm afraid that's one of those questions I just can't answer. I have to say, I have to recommend you go with wash and wipe, final wash, a product designed to wipe down your car just before you spray it. But there are other ways. I've worked with people who wash the car down with soap and water. That always scared me. That can leave a film of water. How do you know you rinsed it off well enough? I'm not sure. I've done lead work and I didn't neutralize the lead well enough. And a year later, I'm repainting the guy's roof for free because I didn't neutralize the acid from doing the lead work well enough. How do you tell? I was wrong. So, anyhow, keep leaving comments, subscribe, like, enjoy the comments. I've had a couple of negative ones, which is just fine. That way I know what people like and don't like. Anyhow, I'm pretty happy with this. And we're going to carry on. I think the next thing I'm going to do I'm going to grab the steering column. I'm going to set that in place and see if I can figure it out. I don't have the bottom mount yet. Lyle has it on the way, but I'm going to start and I'm going to sit the steering wheel on it. And it's really exciting to me to be at this stage. So I'm going to do steering wheel, set the seats, and eventually I'm going to set the inner front fenders and all that stuff. But for now, before we uncover that beautiful radiator and cross rad sport, I want to get drilling, cutting, and grinding I might have to do in here done. I'm also, while it's sitting here, I have some holes to fill up. Lyle's putting in air conditioning. I'm going to take this whole section out and put in a flat piece of steel. We don't need these holes, but I'm going to leave them for now because that's where we attach the rotisserie. But I will replace that. Most of his AC will be coming through here. The inner fender bolts on there. It's always fun working with Lyle because he has great plans, great ideas, and he executes them flawlessly. And when it's done, the assembly is just beautiful. The design is great. So, having a lot of fun with this one. Cheers for now, folks.